Hey guys, welcome back to another Ferrari Formula 1 Evolution video illustrated with 1/18 scale models. This is the Hot Wheels 2009 Ferrari F60 and it was driven by Kimi Raikkonen and Felipe Massa. 2009 saw major changes to the regulations. Most obvious was the welcome return to slick tires. Secondly, there was a massively different aerodynamic package, and we'll go through that in just a minute. 2009 also saw the introduction of the KERS system, which regenerated electrical energy from the brakes and gave the cars an increase of around 80 horsepower for a maximum of 6.6 seconds per lap. Teams actually had the choice of using KERS, and Ferrari was one of the teams that opted to do so, while the faster cars of Hungarian GP and Red Bull Racing decided not to use it, as the weight and packaging issues were not worth a short burst of power. As mentioned, F1 brought back slick tires. This meant a big increase in mechanical grip. The Bridgestones maintained the same tire dimensions as from 2008, which, because the front tires increased the contact patch at a greater percentage than the rear tires, it meant the car shifted to a higher grip balance to the front axle. The front wing was widened from 1400mm to 1800mm and lowered by 100mm as well. Teams were now limited to only the outside portions of the wings to create other elements, and the center had to be left flat. While the lack of flaps and multiple elements reduced overall downforce, the base downforce of the main plane was quite massive due to the width and relative height off the ground. Drivers did have the ability to adjust the front wings a little bit from inside the car, but this was not utilized all that much. This also was the birth of the Y250 Vortex area, which was not a topic of conversation in 2009, but would have huge importance in the future. Teams were no longer allowed to create large, elaborate barge boards. Instead, Ferrari had this small, simple barge board design, which primarily controlled the airflow around the lower front of the side pod. The front outside edge of the side pod was a particular area of interest to teams, as it helped control the airflow around the side pod in general, as well as the wake off the front tires. Ferrari was also pretty creative on how they mounted their mirrors. The rear half of the side pods had a very rounded shape on the F60. The exhaust pipes could no longer protrude outside the bodywork. Thermal coatings really had to do their job to prevent fires of the bodywork itself. Unfortunately, on this model, there are no visible exhaust pipes, and it doesn't look all that good. The rear wing was narrowed by 250mm and raised 150mm. The idea was to reduce the dirty air hitting the following car, all in hopes to help on-track overtaking. The overall reduction in size meant a sizable reduction in downforce. This car did not have any barcode decals on it, so I had to apply them myself. The rear wing decal was admittedly quite difficult to put on, and I'm relatively satisfied with the result. The diffuser was a very big topic of 2009. The rules banned the large central channels seen in previous years, along with the dimensions being longer and higher. Many will remember the top teams came up with a double diffuser. Unfortunately, Ferrari failed to see the loophole in the rulebooks, and their diffuser was a very flat, simple design. This proved to be detrimental to Ferrari, as the double diffuser was a source of huge downforce gains, important on the 09 cars with the amount of front grip they had and the reduction in rear wing downforce. So after a championship winning year in 2008, the huge rule changes caught Ferrari off guard, and they were simply not competitive. Felipe Massa had his unfortunate head injury in Hungary, and Kimi Raikkonen didn't perform quite as well as he had before. In qualifying, Ferrari was over 6/10 slower than Brawn GP and Red Bull, with McLaren surpassing them in performance in the second half of the season. As for the Hot Wheels version of the F60, well, it's not an elite version like the 2008 car was, so the paint isn't as shiny and the detail is a bit lackluster overall. But because I bought the car years after its release, it was actually quite difficult to obtain, so I'm certainly happy to have it in my collection. Now, if you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for future videos, and if you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the description. And as always, thanks for watching.